Hi, this is Lacey, and this is my second reflection video. The first question, I really enjoyed the lecture by Professor Welsh, and I think that it was they said it was in 2008. Um, and I kind of remember back in the day in high school when we were still using dial up and we were using the internet for research purposes only. And back then, our teachers made us use book sources also, and that's changed quite a bit. But I also remember when ICQ, one of the first instant messaging apps, was introduced, and um, so I remember the days when the internet was just about research and getting information, and it wasn't um, where the user actually could upload to the internet and things like that. One of the things that really stood out to me in that video was the cultural inversion, and it stated that we are more individual, but we want community. We are more independent, but we want relationships, and we see increasing commercialization, but we want authenticity. And I think even since this lecture, that has grown. Um, we want to feel like we're in a community, but I feel like some of technology has kind of prevented that. For example, my son can sit and have a big, huge, long conversation with somebody via text message, but he doesn't speak well when he's face to face. So I think that's something that's changed a lot. And the other thing that stood out to me was the ethics. When it said ethics, the more advanced we get in technology, I feel like ethics is a huge issue. People pretending to be people they're not, and how dangerous it can be. So as a teacher, I'm really going to stress to kids what you put on the internet is there forever. And I think a lot of them don't really grasp that, especially with things like Instagram and stuff like that. The podcast I listened to was called, let me get that up here, Educational Management, Administration, and Leadership. And it was kind of boring, to be completely honest, but I really think podcasts are awesome. I actually listen to them a lot when I run. And I'm going to do some more research and find some more educational things that I can use to help me be a better teacher. I think they can be used in a classroom because a lot of times parents don't know what's going on with their kids, especially with the Common Core coming into play. They get really frustrated, and I think it could be a really cool way for parents to stay connected with teachers. Teachers can maybe have their own podcasts, or so that the parents can kind of feel like they can actually help their kids. I know a lot of times my kids will bring things home, and I can't help them with their math because I don't know what's going on. And having worked in the schools, obviously, I can help them probably more than other parents can, but there are still things that I don't know. I think that using things like Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram, I, as a parent, want to make sure that what my kids are using is healthy for them. And I think that with those instances, if they have their own user profile, there's areas where they can get into trouble. So I don't necessarily think that it's something kids should be having unless they're of age, and there's some way to limit it only to the classroom. I know a lot of teachers that have Facebook pages, though, and parents can befriend them and see pictures and things like that, and I think that's totally fine. And I love iCloud. I use iCloud for bookmarking because I have a Mac and I have an iPad and I have an iPhone. And I use it a lot. And one of the things that I really like about it is if I find a recipe I really like, then I can bookmark it. And then when I forget my list, because I forget my list when I go to the store every single time, then I can get on my bookmarks and I can see my list. So I use iCloud pretty much for everything, and it's really beneficial for me. So I hope you guys are having a great weekend, and I will see you next week.